There's a lot of stuff out there online that is telling people that this Christmas season, like, now's the time to get it. And the worst part is this new year, new you shit that's going to be coming in the next few weeks. And if you're probably listening to this, you're going, well, I'm going to consume the podcast because that's going to make me have a better 2025. You're 2025, you have 2024. What you were doing didn't work. The one thing that will change you is the people you surround yourself with. That's the cheat code. The fastest way to become successful is to be around better people.
What's up and welcome. We have a very special two guests today. We have the magnificent Marty and the magic maestro of marketing, Bo Hawkins. I'm so excited that we get to be here to talk about this year and ending the year and reflecting. And, you know, if you're tuned in, you're probably listening to this at the very end of 2024, where you've gone through the holidays, you've gone through the chaos of family. Hopefully you haven't hurt anybody yet.
That's a nice description of your past week, it sounds like.
So much chaos, so much, but also I think it's a great time of year to slow down and think about, you know, what the heck has this year brought. I love these two men that are on the call with me. They've both been champions of me through the course of this year. And if you've had a hard year, we're here to talk about 2025 and where we're going. Bo, don't eat your mic. What has been like the best part of your 2024? Let's just start with that. What's been the best part of each of you? The 2024 highlight reel.
I got married and had a kid, so I think I win.
Solid win. Yeah, solid. The rest of us will be silent.
I was going to say anything else we say will be like, oh, okay. Oh, I went to Zion National Park. Okay.
What
That's
would
it?
be what
That's
would
all
be
you
your
got?
win?
Come on, Marty. What do you got? Wait.
Traveled west to Arizona. That was a big.
Well, not just traveled. You moved.
Drove by myself cross country in a few days out to Arizona. I was afraid of doing the drive, but I enjoyed having that time to myself, making that trip cross country.
Yes.
It was way different than the previous time I did that was when we were moving Aaron out to Arizona. Very different experience.
Definitely. Yeah. All 7 vehicles didn't die.
Correct.
7.
And I didn't have a Ron to travel with me.
Yeah. My dad definitely added some spice to that trip. Yeah, Bo, on my drive out, both my car and the moving truck died. So we had to get both of them towed. I arrived to Arizona with my car in a tow truck and the moving truck on a tow truck.
The Hyundai.
Yes, the blue one, the blue bomber.
Why did it die?
Like one of the tires went out.
We were like an hour, and we were an hour from Phoenix.
Don't you know how to change a tire? Come on, ladies.
Would have loved to, but didn't have a spare or anything.
There's always someone who can. Homeless Bob.
The AAA woman that showed up looking like Chris Hemsworth took care of it.
Death by Snoo, the Amazonian queen.
She was something.
Well, she had us sit in the car while she towed us. Well, that was at least about an hour.
Did she just put like the chain over her shoulder and just drag you to Phoenix?
and told all of us to like stand down and just while she took care of it. Yeah.
Strong women is what we need in the world.
Yeah. We needed it that day anyway.
That was your highlight of 2024.
This was while Aaron had like blood running down his face and everything else. So
yeah, it was quite a ride. I think a highlight for me this year, I got to see a lot of my family, a lot of my friends. It's been a while since I've been able to see everybody, and it's not really like a particular moment, but I was intentional about reconnecting with people. I was intentional about going to see people. I was intentional about having people come out to spend time with me, to spend time with Emerson. And that was just incredibly important to me to like restore, because there was a period of time where I didn't have that. So that was great. Easy win. Zion National Park was all right too.
It's weird. I was just talking to Marty before he came on, and the amount of people you speak to this season, how was your 2024? And they're like, oh, thank fuck, that's over and it's done. And so I'm like, what are you guys living?
Yes.
And then it's kind of obvious, like a lot of these people are guided by whatever's on the news or like if the year's been bad for you, it's more like circumstances driven you instead of you dictating it.
Yeah.
And I know some people who've had shitty situations happen to them, but they're coming out being like, that was the best year ever because they're using it like as growth moments and all that self-help bullshit stuff. Oh yeah, that's what we're here for. Self-help's great.
Yeah. Hey.
But yeah, I think it's just what you make of it. You can make it like, I think a lot of people as well who say they have a good year are afraid that the next year is like the roller coaster down or something, which means they're out of control again. They don't know what they're doing. They have no handle on this kind of stallion they're on, majestic. And I think that's why a lot of people are kind of going, thank God 2024 is over. Can't wait to see it gone. They're going to do the same shit in 2025.
Yep.
Keep eating the fucking cupcakes, not going for a run, and then complaining that Daddy Trump's in office. Oh, I nearly wore that T-shirt today. I'm going to wear this for your broadcast because I don't do podcasts, by the way, because there's a reason. I speak my mind too much. So I've got this Make America G again with Trump and Andrew Tate.
If you're not on the YouTube channel, go there right now.
So instead, I decided to wear like a top with titties on it. Just much better. But yeah, I just think if you're kind of, the circumstance of whatever happened to you, great line I got years ago when my life went to shit. And I was like, oh, everything's against me. The line I got was like, you're in this kind of, these flames of hell will either burn you or forge you. And it's your choice. That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's the same. I think Eckhart Tolle said it as well. Like everyone practices being in the moment and the power of now. And he says it's useless when you're only doing it when things aren't going your way. You got to do it when things are great as well to let go of that. And it's the equal thing. So you don't just use it as a kind of pacifier of the situation. So,
yeah. Yeah. I think this year, man, I've had a lot of calamity and challenge, and there will be a point where I get to tell more of that story. But what reflection does for me this time of year is it gives me a bit more of the context to be able to do that, to not have it overshadow some of the great moments and some of the wins. And you know, the idea of power of now, I love, except no one that I know loves getting their teeth kicked in. You know, no one asked for that, but those are the moments where you learn the most.
Yeah, there's no great person in history that's not had that. Doesn't exist. I'm very blessed to work with some incredible fucking people, and every single one of them has been literally thrown into the inferno, and they all come out. And the ironic thing as well is every single one of them, for the last week and the next week, they're completely off grid. You can't get them. So they value this time as this kind of incubation, hibernation for what's important. So yeah, that's why we're here on the 28th of December.
This is like the only thing that I've really been doing for the last couple of days. You know, the idea of slowing down is really difficult. I struggle with it. I think some of it's momentum, some of it's the story that I've told myself, some of it's the narrative that everyone sort of plays in entrepreneur land. We're like, get ahead, no one's resting, work harder. And as I've sat down and reflected, I've also been reading Dante's Inferno. I think more and more has been able to sort of reveal itself for what I want 2025 to be, the vision of my life, where I want to take things. But it's really hard to unplug when the general narrative for high performing people is like, use this time to get ahead of everybody. And it's horseshit.
Well, that's the problem with Hormozy. It's this, he's on holiday right now on Instagram, and he's posting it begrudgingly, like, I have to take a break with my wife. And it's sending a horrific message to people. Now, if you're talking to extremely lazy people, and there is a generation younger than us that are highly entitled and they require instant stimulus, then they need to work harder. It all started, I think the main perpetrator was about, probably the last 10 years, was Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
Kind of architected this hustle porn.
Yep.
where if you're sleeping, your enemy's working. Well, no, that's called fucking daylight savings time, where someone's on another fucking continent. So shut the fuck up. And now you've got Hormozy, which has adapted this and found that it resonates, so leans into it. Like every morning, post a story at 4 a.m. like, I'm at work. Here's to the hard workers, which is passive aggressive to you're not fucking working hard enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so the way I look at it is, if you have nothing in your life and you don't know what you're doing, hard work, you need to learn. You need to work harder than anyone because it's a skill that anyone can do. When I had nothing, I realized I wasn't the smartest, the fittest, the best looking or anything, but I could outwork anyone. Once you learn how to work hard, that's when you work smart.
Yes.
And too many people are trying to work smart, but they don't have the etiquette, they don't have the input, the ethics, or any of that stuff. So I think Hormozy right now, for the generation that he's captured, because it's social and Instagram, TikTok, and that, has gone, cool. These people are looking for a thing, and so he's teaching them that, but that's bleeding into seasoned entrepreneurs. And they're going, oh, I need to get ahead. And a lot of us are in groups, and unfortunately, these groups are just dick measuring contests that exchange fucking calling cards wherever they go. It's the weirdest networking event.
Echo chambers.
And they're like, well, I'll outwork them. It's Christmas. It's the best time to get ahead because entrepreneurs are on a break, so no one's contacting them. Yeah, if you fucking called me at Christmas, you can go fuck yourself. Like it's this very bizarre thing that this is the way to live. And for some people, it might work. Aaron, you might agree with this. I find it hard to take life advice and business advice from someone who doesn't have a kid.
Interesting.
I'm just like, hey, there's a color of the spectrum which you don't know
for anything.
Like the way I try to explain it is, it's like trying to explain the color blue to someone who's been blind since birth.
Right.
It doesn't mean blue's better. It doesn't mean blue's worse. It just means there is another color. And if you don't have all the pieces, unfortunately, your cookie cutter thing of telling people to work harder and hustle porn and stuff is not going to work.
Yes.
It adds a layer of complexity to it, definitely.
So I had my first kid this year, and everyone was like, oh, your life's going to change. And, oh, you got to get ready. You're going to be changing diapers and be at home all day. I'm literally deliberately secluded. My life has gotten infinitely better for it. The business has gotten better. My relationships have gotten better for it. And at the same time, nothing's changed. Now, that could be because I waited a long time to have kids. So I'm like in my late 30s now. And so me and my wife, we've been together 11 years. We had our adventure and we did everything. So now a kid's in, we're not like, oh my God, we can't go to the restaurant at 2 p.m. You fucking can. Just take a baby with you. But
Don't want to take the baby.
Sorry, the point was, there's a lot of stuff out there online that is telling people that this Christmas season, like, now's the time to get it. And the worst part is this brand new you shit that's going to be coming in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're probably listening to this, you're going, well, I'm going to consume the podcast because that's going to make me have a better 2025. Fuck your 2025. You fucked up 2024. What you were doing didn't work. I think the one thing that will change you is the people you surround yourself with. That's the cheat code. If you want to be, the fastest way to become successful is to be around better people.
I do think that's where that mindset of, then I have to work harder. It didn't work in 2024, so now I have to work even harder because I have to change it. Even though I'm not going to change what I'm doing, I'm just going to try to do it harder. I think that's where that mentality starts to cycle in.
Because it becomes a crutch.
Different word.
It's the Irishness, the crutch. The balls of the situation is this. I think people use it as an excuse because they're not getting what they want. And so they're like, well, I'm just going to put my foot on the gas even harder.
Yeah.
Great analogy. So I'm just taking over this show. I've not been on a podcast for many years, so I missed it so much.
I can tell.
There's this big rotund guy who talks about marketing online, but he's genius. The stuff he says, and have you ever noticed that if you have to get somewhere, and say the speed limit's 70 miles an hour, and you're going at 60, if you creep up to 70, the time will exponentially reduce to get there. But if you are at 70 and put your foot down even harder and go from 70 to 80 or 70 to 90, you might save 1 minute. Yet the exponential risk that comes with that to save 1 minute of death, destruction, wearing out the vehicle, and all this. Again, back to this work analogy with stuff, it's putting in the right effort. There's that great phrase, like, you'll never, the people like hard work isn't anything if you could like train every single day, lift every weight and train running and run west every single day looking for a sunrise. No matter how hard you work or run, just stop and turn around.
Yes. So I'd say my 20s were almost indoctrinated by this, like, work harder. And I outworked people, to your point, Bo, and I agree. You have to learn how to work hard before you have the option to work smart. In my 20s, I didn't really know what I wanted, though. And the more I worked hard, like, I made some things happen, but eventually it just became this like burnout phase. And now if I think to one, what having a kid does, where it really shrinks your time in a good way. I love spending time with Emerson. It also forces you to be a bit more selective because you have to be more intentional with almost every detail. I cook a ton. I eat different to support him and his eating habits, as an example. But as I learn more and more about myself, one of the things that I messed up most was not slowing down to aim. I didn't aim. I just like worked hard, but I kept chasing sunrise going west. And then what happened is I got angry and frustrated that I didn't get what I wanted. So I doubled down and I doubled down and I doubled down. And it was probably, it was COVID that slowed me down the first time. But it was probably 2022 where like I could not figure out how to solve for what I wanted anymore. I was so tired and so fatigued. The car had broken down basically along the way. And I couldn't even think about what I wanted. And I don't know, my world was so artificial. My world was so Gary Vaynerchuk, Alex Hormozy bullshit, top to bottom. And you know, you look around, or I looked around, and I'm like, this is not what I want. This is, yeah, there you go. I don't want an acquisition.com hat. I don't want this. And it's a really sad thing when you are quote unquote successful as an entrepreneur. You build a name and it, like, on paper, it looks great. Most of our clients get here, like, on paper, it's great, but it's not what I want. And it's a really scary place to be. I think it's one of the scariest places to be when you're successful enough to have options, but you don't have what you want.
Oh, I had that a few years ago, and then I think like I solved the Rubik's Cube and figured it out, and I've been living it for the last, I'd say, 5 years as kind of test. One of my big things, I'll fall on my own sword. I'll test things out. One of my highest value propositions for living my life, everything, my agency to personal life and everything, is freedom. I optimize for freedom. And I used to chase money or status. And when I changed that to freedom, it's ironic how everything I thought I wanted just fell into place. So my kind of rules are I only do what I want to do when I want to do it and how I want to do it. That's it. That's my entire agency. That's my life, everything I do. And I think a lot of people would benefit from if they optimize to have the freedom they want, then they'd win. There's that great parable, that story. I'm going to butcher it, but fuck it. There's the businessman goes to Fiji and he goes on the fishing boat.
Yes.
And he goes out to sea with the fisherman. He's like, wow, what a life you live. And he goes, yeah, I wake up, I take people out on the boat, I hang out with great people. Then I go back, I drink beers with my friends on the beach. It's my life every day. I hang out with my family. And the businessman's like, wow, you know what you could do? You could like get 4 or 5 of these boats so you don't have to ride them. And then they'll bring the money in for you. And then you can actually like build it to a point where you sell it. And eventually, and he's like, what? Then I get to like, I'll be able to afford a boat to go out every day and just hang out with people, drink beer and stuff.
Friends, yeah.
And so I took that to heart years ago when I heard it. And it was, why can't I just do the things I want to do now? And Tim Ferriss has a great exercise about it. I can't remember it exactly, but it was, if you figured out what your dream life was, not what not what you want other people to think of you, what you actually fucking want to do.
Super important. very distinct.
and then write down like the cost analysis, it's probably a tenth the cost you think.
Yeah.
So you've got this, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and a coach, and I'm going to make $5 million a year. And you're like, wait, for $500,000, I can live in paradise, spend all day with my family, and be around the coolest people and do whatever I want. But ego gets in the way, and then other people's perception. And that's a huge lesson. Like, if you're listening to this, fuck what anyone thinks of you. That's the easiest, and that's the best lesson in the world. It was in a book. I think it was Tim Ferriss wrote it. A Dita Von Teese quote. It was like, you could be the world's sexiest, juiciest, ripest peach in the world, and there's always some motherfucker who hates peaches. Do we have to put an explicit warning on this episode? I swear, like, I swear for you guys.
You edit it, so you do what you have to do.
Oh, yeah. I have an editor who does this.
I was thinking, though, when I left ministry back in 6 years ago, it'll be 6 years next month.
The band.
Left ministry.
The band.
Left church life.
Oh, you don't know the band Ministry?
No. How much that, what are other people going to think, held me there for so long. And then when I finally left, when I was like falling apart, like the number of people that cared about me, like dropped down to like a dozen people. And I'm like, why did I hold on for as long as I did, worrying about what other people thought, when in the end, most people didn't even care about me in the first place.
And that's the beautiful part. That's a good thing. When you realize no one cares about you because everyone's looking at their own reflection when they pass the store mirror, they don't care what you think. It's the gym thing. The amount of people who would be phenomenal if they dedicated themselves to the gym, but they're worried what other people will think of them in. Everyone is only looking at themselves and listening to Sabrina Carpenter for some reason, but everyone's just looking at themselves. And I think that extends to everything. How many things are not just we, but like people who are within your circles who listen to this show are so concerned about what other people think of them that it is like they've built a wall, and it just stops them from doing what they want. Because they start having conversations with avatars they create in their head of this person, not the actual person, the fake version they've put in their head, which is just hilarious when you think about it. But it's probably holding 95% of those people back.
It's essentially a conversation they're having with their own shadow. Like Aaron will speak of Bruce, the voice in his head, or mine, Skeletor. It's essentially just having a conversation with that person and allowing that person to dictate how you live your life.
Skeletor,
yeah.
Like He-Man Skeletor?
Yes.
Villain from He-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah. I don't know why he had such a terrible voice in the cartoons. You know, I think part of it is thinking of what other people believe or see or feel. But the thing that is most confusing to me is that we don't really give ourselves very much permission to want what we want. There's this like social covering of it has to be justified versus I'm just going to say what I want. And if there has been any change in my life, what Emerson has really taught me, especially like watching a 2-year-old just bounce around and like open Christmas gifts, and he was like ripping gifts open and throwing clothes, like it's just pure joy, right? Like he doesn't care what anybody thinks. He doesn't care what anything is except what he's doing. But what he's taught me over and over is that you don't have to justify. And I think in entrepreneur land, especially, there's all this like circular, square, nonsensical logic about, so it's similar. Like I need to make $5 million a year. Like why do you need to make $5 million a year? And I'd say out of our, I don't know, like 30 or 40 clients that we have right now, most of them would say they only want to work 30 to 35 hours a week, me included, and are actively building something that requires them to work 60.
Yes, we're like, why would you do that? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you need the major investment up front to get the systems built.
You got to build it.
But it's not done out of it's done out of absolute joy.
Right. and there's a long-term vision in mind, right? There's something like I don't mind putting in 60 for a period of time that's defined to get to an outcome that aligns with what I want. But I first have to know what I want, right? I don't know you can't optimize for freedom if you don't even know you want freedom.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's awareness is, what is it? Who said it? Fuck knows. I always quote people because someone's going to say, you said that. No, I didn't. I'm not that fucking smart. Someone said awareness is curative. And it's true. Some people won't even realize they want freedom.
So, Bo, here's a question for you, because I like to challenge people when they say they want freedom. Freedom to me is like saying I want options without defining the options. So how did you get to a place where you actually could define freedom and say, like, this is what it looks like?
Well, for me, it was realizing I did so many things I disliked and hated. So many things. And I had so little time to do what I wanted to do that I classified, if I get to do those things on my terms, I'm free.
Then you're winning.
And for me as well, so I worked in hospitality for years and stuff like that. I was never it was never my business. And so freedom for me was that jump from employment to entrepreneurship. And I was very blessed to have a mentor who took me under his wing, Evan Carmichael, years ago, and kind of saw something in me and then gave me a crash course in by the way, everything you see out in the world? Yeah, they're all entrepreneurs, all of them. Everyone think, no, I'm going to work. It's funny that people go, I'm going to work harder. Talking about hard work, I'm going to work harder at my job. You know what that gets you? More responsibility and less pay. That gets you sweet FA.
Zero.
And that's that great term. If you're not living your dream, you're living someone else's. And so it's terrifying not having a schedule, not having you don't get a monthly thing at the end of the month. You're doing your own taxes and all this stuff. And then you're like, wait, we need to hire, and you build it. It's terrifying, but everything that you want is in that world. I don't know anyone super successful that's not an entrepreneur. I don't know anyone I really hang out with that works in a job.
Yeah.
But reminds me, because I had a great discussion in the car about this yesterday. I coached an entrepreneur. I took him from 0 to 23 million last year. And one of the biggest shifts for him to do that was he is the most efficient, optimized guy there is. Amazing guy. And I asked him a simple question. I said, what do you do for fun? And he's like, well, I work out. I said, well, no, you work out because there's a perceived goal to that. What do you do? Well, I take my family out. And I said, yeah, well, I think you're just ticking a box for that one. And so the phrase that I coined, that I used was, do you have any zero return activities in your life?
Nice.
He's like, what does that mean? I said, is there anything that you just do that is not to advance you in any way, that you just go, fuck it? And he didn't. And we eventually got him. He's got a beautiful sports car. And I was like, if you took your car to the racetrack on Sundays when that group meets, they do like a cars and coffee, then they go race around the track. If you go and do that, would that be fun? He's like, oh my God, that would be so cool. I said, well, why don't you just go and do that? And he started doing that. And then he realized that the bandwidth that created allowed him to optimize everything in his business. And he kind of had something to look forward to. And then he became a better father. Then he became a better husband. Then he became a better person to look in the mirror at. And it's funny. So I have my dirty little secret is I'm a huge gamer.
Hold on. That can mean a lot of things. What kind of game are we talking about here?
I play a lot of things, RPGs,
nice.
First-person shooters, everything. Like my PlayStation is meters away from me.
Nice. It's like I'm playing it right now, actually.
Yeah.
I've always seen a correlation between when I play my video game with my. Sometimes I have a lot of friends who live all over the world, and we just meet and we chat in a first-person shooter, and we just shoot the shit. And not in my world. I'll play a story game like Witcher or Final Fantasy or something, and I just disappear. It's amazing.
Nice.
And I've always noticed the correlation between how much my business grows and my relationships grow to the amount of time I spend gaming. When I have no time to game because life's so important, everything else is actually going to shit.
Yeah.
And it was a few weeks ago, Elon was on Rogan, And Rogan was asking him about like, what do you do for spin? He's like, oh, I'm world number 5 at Diablo right now. And he's like, is that a video game? He's like, yeah. And anyone who knows that game, to be like world number like in the top 10, you have like people in Asia waking up at 8 in the morning, playing until 10 at night. And that's all they do 7 days a week. This guy, the king of vision, who has the biggest companies in the world, who is our new secret president, all this stuff. and then a few weeks ago, he got to number 1 in the world. It's just ridiculous. But for him, he said, I need that in my life. Doing this allows me to do that. And there's so many entrepreneurs that I meet that do things because they only think it like I don't work out for anyone except myself. But the amount of entrepreneurs who go online and start working out and stuff because they think it's going to advance their career, it's going to get them connected. It's just fucking chill out.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Do something fun. If you like fishing, or if you whatever, like you got to go to the movies by yourself. If you go to what's the FAO Schwartz and you think playing that giant piano with your feet is the greatest thing in the fucking world, and that makes you bet, just go and do it. But not everything has to be this optimized activity to live a great life. Life is chaos, and that's the most beautiful thing about it.
Yeah, man. I think the game community is a great place for that. I think there's a quote that comes to mind. I don't know who it was. Somebody sort of polarizing. It might have been Andrew Tate, who was like, a morning routine has never made me money. You know, like every entrepreneur listening is like, what routine do I need? And, you know, what temperature do I make my cold plunge 37 degrees or 35 degrees? Or, you know, what if I like don't post at 6 a.m. or what, you know, how, like what pen do you use? And
it's fucking wild.
It's absolute madness trying to talk to someone that hasn't figured out what they enjoy. There's a path to that. I think it takes time to learn what you enjoy. Often it's going back to what you loved as a kid. I was sitting with my cousin last night and she was telling me just stories about when we were younger. And dude, I used to love play and think of play as like the main feature of my life. And now play is like, well, if I have 35 minutes in between calls, I guess I'll go play. And it's a sad narrative in entrepreneurship. And one that I fell prey to. I fucking hate it.
But so many people who, and I mean this in a nice way, you guys have set up your company to serve those people.
Mm-hmm.
And they are looking for God. They're, as you said, great word. They're looking for permission to enjoy the life they already have. It's weird.
I know. So the story of the fisherman that you mentioned in Fiji, I've always heard it told like the Mexican fisherman, like that story. What's really interesting about the most common desire that our clients have and say they want is like a window of time to not have work. I want a window of time where I don't have to work. And that might be like, I want to go do jujitsu, or I want to volunteer, or it can be filled in a number of ways, but most of them want to build in better boundaries with their job, their business, that would allow them to do something else. And until they have a coach, they will not do it.
Well, they're looking through the telescope.
Coach, they won't do it.
They're looking through the telescope the wrong way. So here's the secret sauce. People like being around people who enjoy their lives.
For sure.
So if you prioritize play or like this guy does what he wants to do, or this girl, they do what they want to do, that actually attracts the kind of people that move up in the world.
Yep.
Because the cosmic joke is everyone at the top's just playing all the time. That's all they do. And it's ironic. I have a vast array of clients from different net worths. But if you were to look at, as you go higher up, they kind of do less and less. And they're more, most of them are skiing at the moment, probably somewhere in Switzerland or France, or they're enjoying their lives. And if you try to get a hold of them, the offense would be, that world doesn't come here right now. I'm doing this.
Yeah. To me, the the clarity needed to get to a place of this time of year, I don't work. Things are shut down. Don't bother me. Is only one unit away from where most people are. But I think there's this belief that if you actually pick what you want, if you know what you want and you do it, you'll lose everything. You'll lose business, you'll lose traction, you'll lose momentum. And if I think back to like sports, so when I played soccer in college, right, the whole thing in sports, like, you're gonna lose your touch, you're gonna lose your fitness, you're gonna lose your muscle tone, you're gonna lose it. If you stop, you lose it. And in entrepreneurship, it does not work that way. You don't like atrophy because you take 2 weeks off or you sit down at the end of the year. But I've watched so many people that could choose what they want, but then they wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves. If they actually got what they wanted, they would have to stop fighting for what they wanted. And there's this enigma, I think, around, do you know what you want? And then can you just say yes to it now? And you don't need a lot of money to get what you want in most cases.
That's the worst part. People think it's money. Where if you actually did what you love, money is a byproduct.
Yeah, that's the win.
It's a byproduct. It's like someone said it to me recently. It's like people chasing money is like people making milk and then throwing the milk away just to get the whey. It's like, what do you like? Whey is a byproduct of milk. Like, yeah. It's ridiculous. So focus in the right place. And I don't know. It's, again, we're looking at 2024, 2025. You're going to get people making their lists. I want this for the new year. I want this. No matter what they put on their little list, they're not going to achieve it because they don't have the skills or the discipline. They've not learned. They're looking at step 4 and 5, and they've not done 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if they knew what they were doing and they knew the formula how to achieve what they wanted or kind of advance where they wanted to go, the new year is just another day. For me, it's an excuse to have a party and chill out with great people. My goals are not just what's the new year. It's what's the next 5, 10, where am I going? What's my compass looking at? That's just the way I look at it. For me, vision. I know that you guys are the vision guys, vision boys. But
right up after Ministries, our opening band.
Yeah, Ministry, and then the Vision Boys. For me, vision's always been the way I look at it. It's like a pressure gauge, and it's trying to keep that. There's that zone, and I keep the needle in that zone, which is freedom for me. Yeah,
which requires active. Like you have to combat.
Oh, I don't just sit on my arse and just be like, no. It takes work. It takes like honing my craft. And I've gotten very good at what I do. There's a reason.
Saying no. Probably have to say no often.
Oh, I say no to everything. I think it's Derek Sievers has a book called Hell Yeah or No. Mm-hmm. Derek's one of the nicest guys. You should do him on your podcast.
Yeah.
Hell yeah or no is if you live your life by like either everything's a hell yeah, like, oh my, yeah, or it's a no. So for instance, I don't do podcasts. I have no interest. I get asked every week to do someone's podcast. I don't care about it anymore. But then when we were chatting, you're like, oh, we should do it. I was like, fuck yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. It'd be fun. I get to see you guys. We get to chat. And I was like, it's a Saturday night here where I am. It's late. I get to do I only do what I want to do. I love this. So hell yeah or no, or I think someone rephrased it like fuck yeah or no, like that kind of energy. If you just did that and did nothing else, your entire life would change for the better.
If you weren't doing this, would you be gaming?
No, I would be starting Squid Game season 2.
Nice.
Like very specific. Like nice. When I leave this call, I'm watching Squid Game season 2.
Well, I'm looking at an email that I got today. Somebody attended a workshop we ran. I guess it was like a week ago, maybe 2. And this is an example of what we hear a lot of, and what I think we're talking about here.
Get that man a beer.
Yeah, you need another beer, bro. So the email is essentially. I feel like I'm failing myself, failing my family, failing business. I'm not a big investor. I don't own a lot of businesses. Should I go build a team? I don't know how to do that. Should I get out of production? Should I monetize my relationships? Or do I just forget all that and build and get better at what I do? And I think in a way, right, if you like squished all that together in one very simple sentence, it'd be like, I don't know what I want. And it's really difficult to figure out what you want, but I think it's the basis of happiness. I think it's the basis of joy. I think it's the basis of like relationships. Like when people are clear on what they want and clear on who they are, life becomes very easy. Bo, it seems like you are clear on what you want, clear on who you are, and life has become very easy for you.
Life is, no, wrong word. Life's not easy. Life's simple.
Nice.
I work extremely precision based. I'm not going to say I work hard. I hate that word. I do a lot of work, but I don't classify it as work because I could get in front and work with clients from, say, I could do a 12-hour day and I leave feeling better than going in because I'm doing what I believe is my life's calling, my service. Speaking to people, building a lot of people come to me. So if you don't know what I do, you're not going to find out tonight. So a lot of people come to me and they ask, okay, so I want to build this brand. These are the people I want to serve. This is my avatar and stuff. And sometimes God has another plan for you. Sometimes God makes you what I call the reluctant leader, which is you are designed to serve a group, a tribe, a community that you don't want to serve, but you are their leader. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. And the people who lean into that are the ones that tend to win because everyone's looking. So you get, sometimes I get like a mindset person being like, yeah, I want to coach people in like up 5 to 10 million. And I just want to kind of do that and then blah, blah, blah. Yet you look at their engagement, you look at their interactions and stuff, and it's all people being like, hey, I listened to your podcast. I'm with my wife and kids. You know what? We did one thing and finally can afford that little holiday we wanted. And then it's just like that, what they would classify as a lower tier of person to serve, but it's a beautiful community of people. So you pivot the energy to this reluctant community and they just blossom. They become a big fish in a tiny pond. And then they become a big fish in another pond. And then it grows and grows and grows. So one of the examples would be Hormozy, who he was the gym software guy.
Right.
And by the way, like Hormozy's been at this for fucking years, like years and years and years. He's been in this industry trying to, I won't use the word make it, but he's been active. But if you look at like the journey for what we know about him publicly, it's the gym software guy to the gym guy to the entrepreneurship small business guy to now generic business. And then people look at going, I want to serve generic business. But if you said to them, no, you're going to serve the gym software people, they'd be like, oh, why would I serve them? That's where God, universe, spaghetti monster in the sky wants to put you. If you've seen Game of Thrones, it's Jon Snow, the reluctant leader. They want him to lead the rebellion, and he says, I don't want to do it. And then they destroy the last season of that show. Sorry.
I know everyone dies, but I don't know Game of Thrones at all. We need a different metaphor.
Fonz. No, he loves what he does. No, but essentially it's so the actual example is, and again, butchering because details aren't my forte in literature. There was a guy called Cincinnatus in Rome, and Cincinnati's named after him, but basically Rome was getting attacked by outsiders, and the Roman Empire, the Senate or whatever it was, went to him, he's just a farmer. And they're like, you must lead us. He's like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, you must lead us. And he goes, fine. So he took the ring, he went out, led, obliterated the enemy, comes back, and they're like, you will now be the emperor. He's like, no. He took the ring off and gave it back. He's like, I want to do what I want to do. And it's a beautiful, and I think he did it 2 or 3 times. Just don't quote me on it. But the lesson in it is like, he knew he had to serve. But he wasn't pulled to, like, he reluctantly did it. And I think a lot of us we're too focused on like, who's our avatar and this, and we're going to pay a branding agency $20,000 to find our avatar. It's going to be amazing. We're going to make a website.
I really like this voice, this like American like Southern drawl.
Thank you.
This is great.
That what you described is, from my own background, that's every story in the Bible. Just about every leader that is raised up in biblical stories fights it, resists it until they finally surrender to what it is that they're being pulled towards. Every story is like that.
Yeah, isn't it weird? But no one learns the fucking lesson.
No,
I think that
They're like, no, I'm going to serve the hot girls because
Right.
I might get to sleep with one of
well,
them.
there's a
No.
there's a tension between I want, but this is where I'm really being pulled. And how do you live within the tension of those two things to really discern the direction?
I also think that, just to that example of like, I'm going to serve the hot girls, like the fuck boy that's going after all that is like actually wants something totally different, right? It's like that's what we say we want, but what we actually want is wildly different from that, right? It's almost the business plan. It's like, I want this to be my avatar because it will get me the most money, or it will get me the most success, or it will get me the most vanity. When what I actually want is to live on a farm. I can't tell you the number of people who have dreamed of like living on a farm in our client Rolodex that are like, I actually would love to live on a farm and just get away and disconnect and like be with my family. And they are building the exact opposite way. They're chasing sunrise going west.
You know who's amazing at, you just remind me, and if I use the word farm, he'd fucking castrate me. It's a ranch. Someone who's very good at what you just described is Matt King.
Mm-hmm.
He designed his life where he's like, I want the ranch. I want the crazy, amazing animals. And my family is priority. And I'm going to build my empire.
Yeah, that's great.
And he's done it. And when you ask him and speak to Matt about like, oh, so of course you had a background in ranching, no, farming, whatever you do. He's like, nope. Oh, so you know what you're doing?
Nope.
But I'm smart enough to realize I'll learn along the way. And I think if a lot of people just dedicate themselves to learning along the way, they'll be at their dreams so much faster.
Yeah. You have to march into the unknown. That's where all the fun is.
That's what the good Jamie Foxx says it. He's like, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. Everything. And it is.
I think that was Will Smith.
We don't talk about him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll give it to Jamie Foxx.
The name.
It was and it was Jamie Foxx. I'm on a computer. Jamie Foxx. Fear.
Just ask everyone playing Call of Duty right now. They'll tell you.
No, I can't tell you the names on
tell
the
your
screen.
Call of Duty chat room that we need confirmation of the quote.
Jamie Foxx quote about fear is, "What's on the other side of fear? Nothing." I don't think he said like that, but did he try to kill him though? So there you go.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of those stories. Oh man, end of the year always brings out this like, it is so gross here. It is raining and gray. Bo, am I where you are?
You home?
Are you here?
I'm in dense fog. There's just fog all
there's
around me.
actually
I live in Silent Hill.
Every time I like slow down at the end of the year, this year being a very different one, I start to think about what I should be doing. Like the level of should in my life is just massive. Should. There's just all this like cobwebbed narrative in my head about working hard.
That's not just
man.
the end of the year, just to be clear.
That's true. That's
fair.
definitely accurate. Yeah, it's there. But the end of the year becomes really interesting because if you I don't get to hang around too many people because I'm always around entrepreneurs that they just have off. Like in entrepreneur land, it's very different to like have off. You have to declare it, defend it, protect it. You have to really be intentional. Otherwise things like creep back in. And I worked really hard this year to create off and still have to battle for staying off and still battle with like, am I doing enough? Like, should I? Yes. And like all these like emails are flying in, texts are flying in. I've got 38 text messages I haven't answered today. And I find that this time of year is torture for people who are very introspective and entrepreneurial. Like it can really wreck you to have both deep awareness and lots of time.
Yeah, I think that you just don't have your shit together. If that is you don't know how you made it, and you think it was luck. Therefore, if you fear turning off, you fear that if you turn off, the luck will run dry.
Yeah, I love
that. But like anyone who knows to do something, they just know what to do. And I think too many people like use rest as like an enhancement, but they monitor it. Like it should just be zero play, like zero return. Just fucking rest. Do what you want to do. If you just want to watch like reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond, just fucking do it. Like no one cares. Like, and that's the thing. Go back to you, Mark. Like no one gives a shit. You do you. And the more you actually do you, the more that people go, wow, that's someone who just loves their own life. They're just happy.
Yeah.
And then people want to be around that. And the people who sign checks and want to do business want to be around people who love their own life. It's just the way it is.
Marty, what are you thinking, man? You're clearly pensive. And
you got hit. That vodka's hit him hard.
Yeah. That Starbucks cup is full to the top.
I mean, I've learned a lot of lessons by just falling apart in life, so that I recognize, and you know this from working with me, that the time off I think is absolutely necessary. I think we talked about it when we were up in Flagstaff, when we were out in the woods. Like for me, that space allows for things to kind of clear, allows the fog to kind of clear in my life, to be able to see more clearly as to what matters, what's important. Can I see nuance a little bit different? So for me, it's a necessary part of life, because it's easy to just kind of get on the train and go without ever stopping and acknowledging what is of being present. We talked about that early on, and I just think it is such a necessary part of life. Otherwise, you just get on the train and keep going, and you miss life.
I used to be a musician years ago, and I stopped playing. And then people would come up to me, family, friends, people like who liked the band, would be like, oh my God, you quit. Dude, like with your God-given talents, you should be playing. Like you, right. No, you should be playing. You just want a version of me that I don't want anymore. And so many of us live our entire life by this. Like you should do that. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should do it. And sometimes we're only doing things like, I think it would break people's brain if they actually just stopped and went, how many things do I do in my life that are just to be perceived as like I'm a good person, or I'm just doing hard work? And if you just erase all that shit, you'll have this new like hidden secret level of bandwidth will open up that you can just live your life. It's wild.
Yeah, when I left church life, I heard that all the time. We need you. We need you. We need you. We need people like you. We need. It was never about what was best for me.
Guilt.
Yeah.
There's also, I think once you start building a business, and Bo, this goes back to like, once you know how to do it, it makes everything simpler. When you have a business, the other pattern is that you start to try to make everything a business, and you like start to make all your side hustles and hobbies into enterprises. And, you know, Gary Vee did this shit and it drives me nuts, right? He's like going to yard sales and talking about yard sailing, and no, one, he doesn't need to, but two, you don't need to go yard sailing. If you have a business and you work and it's working, don't go yard sale to make an extra $500. Take 5 hours to yourself.
I always thought that weird. I remember watching it, and it's like, I'm going to the yard sale. I found this vintage game of 1969 Twister with the extra color and stuff. I could probably get $49 for this online and stuff. And he probably, like, all the production spent on that, the time spent on that he could actually been playing Twister with his kid. Just like being with his family, being like, hey, what do you want to do? You want to watch Bluey? Let's fucking watch Bluey. That, as an ROI, is quantumly more valuable than him showing broke fuckers that they can buy G.I. Joe in a box.
You know, the thing I hate about Instagram, probably more than anything, in the world of entrepreneurship and like mega success, is that even mega successful people don't actually describe or share that their life has these slow pockets, because the world doesn't like register that you could that the reason we started business was so that we could relax by the pool. The reason we started business was so that we could go on vacation. The reason we started business was so that we could travel and like go to dinner with our loved ones. We didn't start business to only do business. I don't believe that anybody starts a business for anything other than lifestyle. And most business owners have a shit lifestyle because of their business.
You just reminded me as well. As going back, we spoke about it at the start, and Marty agreed with me. Marty agrees with a lot of what I say. Thanks, Marty.
I do a lot. Yeah.
I am, and no one's commented on this glorious Christmas mustache.
Well, I did notice it, but I didn't.
Curls at the ends. It's just here for Christmas. The masterminds, the networking clubs, the community get-togethers in entrepreneurship, where everyone goes, I need to be part. Like you hear it is true. The fastest way to grow is who you surround yourself with. The fastest way to there's the two quotes that I remember seeing years ago, which is you're the average of the four people around you, and your net worth is your network. That is 100% true. But when you go into these rooms and you are in like a vacuum mode, where you're like, I'm just going to take everything, and you add zero fucking value, when you zoom out, you just see that everyone goes into those rooms peacocking, doing the whole, have you seen American Psycho where they do the business card exchange?
Yeah.
It's literally that. And then people go, well, I have to be part of a mastermind because that's how the greats do it and stuff. And it's, if you went into these things where if you made the deal with yourself, like, cool, I've got this meet, like I'm part of whatever membership or whatever. I don't want to name names because I know all of them intimately. If you went into it being like, cool, I'm going to go to that room, 200, 2,000 people, whatever it is. One, I'm going to ask nothing. Two, I want no one to know what I do. And three, I'm going to find if I can add value to every person that I meet in that room. And then I want no covert kindness. Like I'm not going to give value. And then my hand goes around to the back pocket being like, what can I get from you? But people are so afraid to do that. And can you just imagine a whole room of people adding value to each other and then they all leave? It doesn't happen. And one other thing about masterminds that really pisses me off, it's like I might start my own in 2025 and do it right. You get to these masterminds that are meant to be, yeah, we're this community of XYZ. How many of you hang out with each other after this? What's Bob's surname? Oh, well, we meet 3 times a year here. Okay, but Bob lives an hour from you. Like, have you met like 30 minutes each way for steak or something? No. What the I've never seen these groups where they actually integrate with each other and then all the people within it actually become something that's what actual life is, which is I just want to be around good people. They kind of, we're part of this group together and we meet up and we do this. We have this wild little adventure for 2 or 3 days where we're spoon-fed stuff from people who are trying to sell us something. And then we get out of it. And then we just remember Bob from the guy that we met at the last mastermind. Instead of, I know Bob's surname, I know his 3 kids, I know he loves kite surfing. And you know what? I want to go kite surfing with Bob because I've never done it. Very different. And they're the kinds of, if you're in these high entrepreneurial groups as well, and these people have the ability to make decisions to move big money or to change people's lives, who are they going to do business with? The person that's like, I just love being around you, man. Like, it's fucking awesome. Or I met you twice. I don't quite know what you do, but I got your business card. There's a puppy on it. Why am I going to give you my business? So yeah, if you're in a mastermind group and you're listening to this, be a fucking human. There we go. It's
as easy as that. I actually just put a book in my cart on Amazon earlier today because I saw a story. The sex lady, Dr. Ruth, the last book that she wrote was published a couple months ago called The Joy of Connection. That's what people are missing to begin with and what they're looking for through social media and everything. They want that human-to-human connection, which is what's often missing. But her final book that she wrote before she died was all about that the idea that that's what people want in the first place.
One of my dear friends he's one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet. Extremely big. We meet, we go out, we hang out, we drink, we eat food, we have a fucking blast. We talk about YouTube 0% of the time. We talk about sports, our friends, what we're watching, what we want to do, there's places we've been, real people connecting. And we have this unspoken agreement. If ever I needed something, he would know it would come from an authentic, compassionate place. And it's like, oh, not a problem. And vice versa. If he came to me, it's like, hey, I need you to, it's done. Whatever you need, man. Like, I just, when's the next steak? But too many people are, it's similar to, oh, geez, we're going down rabbit holes here. The way vulnerability has been weaponized, Brene Brown is guilty of kind of turning the beautiful thing of vulnerability into this weaponization and this weapon that weak people use to justify shitty fucking actions. Oh my God, it's I'm just going to be vulnerable with you, and if you don't accept me, you're going to hurt me. Go fuck yourself. Kick them in the nuts. People use vulnerability the wrong way. They do it with relationships as well. It's like, cool, I see that we need to build relationships and be part of communities. And so this avatar version of them goes out to build it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is when they find out who the real person is, they go, oh, I don't want to be around that. Yeah. Just go out as yourself. It happened dating. So I've always had a thing years ago, because I'm very happily married now, is if you meet someone and you are just yourself, you don't try to impress them or you don't try to peacock or anything, if they fall in love with you, you never have to try a day in your life because the real version of you is everything they've always wanted. And vice versa. You meet someone who's themselves, you're like, I never need you to put on fucking a dress and become and we have to do date. Just be yourself. And that's the best thing. And that's the same in connecting with these entrepreneurial circles and stuff. Yes, they are great. They are incubators. However, too many people go in artificially trying to forge these connections. They see, okay, let me look at the list. Who's in the room today? Oh, so-and-so. They could move my business and stuff. And this person and that person. When usually the person that you want while you're out there doing that is probably at the bar enjoying a Negroni or an old fashioned, just chilling out and is just desperate for someone to talk to him about the game that he's watching on TV, but has the ability to sign a check for fucking 500 mil. I've seen it too many times. That is how it works.
So is that the same as the like go giver mentality?
What?
You've heard of the go giver? That's a book
too,
a business book.
What game? I don't know.
Yeah, the idea of like, so
explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah, being authentic, I think is part of it. But I also think that what you're attesting to is that there's a degree of giving. There's a degree of willingness to provide and nurture the people you're around that you can only do if you've got a really good handle on your own capacity and your own needs and like what's going on in your head. Because in most of these communities, everything is about business because we're chasing. When you give, you don't really have to chase very, very hard.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I have a different words for that. And Marty, you'll know this because like you were like King Bible or something.
King Bible. That was.
So I thought I was going to be a speaker years ago. And like, I was like, I'm going to build my IG and I'm going to do all this stuff. And then I got sat in a room one day and, one of my mentors was like, cool. So things are taking off. You've written a book. You've done the TEDx talk. Everything's on track for you to become this thing. And I was like, yeah, I feel like a fraud. Like I'm telling other people how to live their lives and I just hate my life. And he said, look, try this experiment. Go into the world for 1 week and just serve. He says, every religious text talks about the way to heaven, Valhalla, to peace, to nirvana, to fulfillment is through a life of service. Some people take it literally and serve God. Some people take it metaphorically and serve other humanity. But a life of service without any covert expectations will give you everything you want. That was 7 years ago. And I went out that day and just went, I'm going to serve people with my built-in gift. We all have a gift. And again, similar to what we said earlier about there might be a gift you want to have, but there's the gift you actually have. Do that. And go forth and serve people who that will add value to and expect nothing from them. And like a shadow in the night, just disappear. And so I started doing that. And for the first time in my life, all my depression and anxiety disappeared. I then landed a job with a very successful production company in Hollywood that were doing shows on Netflix and Amazon. And I was like, what's happening? And this just came through service. We can't go through it. It's just, there's not enough time to go through the whole backstory. But I realized that when I just serve people and expect nothing from them, except I hope I did my best to add value to them, my life has gotten extremely simple and extremely fulfilled. And one of the rules that I made with myself many years ago is I always want to, if I meet someone, I always want them to leave our interaction feeling better about who they are and they're spending and giving me their time than not. And I've lived by that rule. And anyone I meet, from the person who's made my coffee to family to anything, they have to feel better about being with me and we share time within whatever that interaction was than not. And that's just a default. How can I serve these people? How can I add value? And that has changed everything. So for me, if I was to go to one of these masterminds or whatever, I don't care about myself. I'm nothing. Like, I can build my own empire. That's great. And I can get people around me. That's fantastic. But I get an opportunity of 200 to 2,000 people to make their lives better.
Yeah.
And that makes me sleep at night.
Yeah.
That's so yeah, you're go-giver. To me, I just use the word, I've dedicated my life to a life of service. It's not industry specific. It's not just my agency. It's also everything I do, everything. And yeah, and as a result, the byproduct of that is contentment, joy, and I have a peace about my life it's just peaceful. I hear people with drama all the time. Like, Aaron, you're a very drama-filled guy.
Oh.
I have none of that in my world, yet there are many things that I could turn into that.
Sure.
But I choose not to, because I just want to serve. And this, if I was a radio, my primary signal would be transmitting rather than receiving.
That makes sense.
I'll stop talking now.
You do a pretty good job.
So you could be a preacher too.
No.
I would attend that church.
You just did.
And that's the thing. So
that'd be a
one
very
of the
interesting
advantages.
Church. Yes,
Be like, get the goodness out. Yeah, fucking, yeah, Daddy Trump. I'm not a Trumper, by the way. If you're listening to this, I'm in the UK. I have no stake in your relationship.
And you speak about it more than we do.
Oh, it's just like popcorn. We're watching from across an ocean. Like, this is
the best reality TV ever.
My advantage in my industry, by the way, is I have zero desire to build my own brand publicly. Therefore, when I get to serve clients, like, so if I work with you guys and I've helped you throughout the last year and we've done amazing things together. One of the advantages I have is that by not building my own brand, the version you're getting of me is only for you. There's no covertness in it. But that's an advantage I've had, because I realized, for me, if I wanted to dedicate myself to a life of service in this industry, I would have to give up an ego death, a side of me that needed validation and stuff. That's why I don't do podcasts.
Externalities. Yeah.
But talking about branding, sorry, really quickly, my secret skill. Whether you think you have a personal brand or not, you do. And there's two kinds of branding. There's explicit branding and implicit. Explicit is what you tell the world you are. Hey, we're a CEO company and we do XYZ and we tickle bears and wear hats, whatever the fuck you do. Who cares? That's all great. And you have to spend ad money into that to convince people what you are. And you just pray that they stumble across your stuff because the algorithm gods of Google touched each other and now you can see them. Great. What's more important is implicit branding, which I've coined as your brand is the conversation people have about you in rooms you're not in.
Yeah, I like that. Even
though I don't have an Instagram, I do actually have an Instagram. It's just to send horrific memes to my best friends. And I have, although I don't have public outgoing, I don't even have a website or anything. My entire business is built on the conversations people have about me in rooms I'm not in. I have clients until 27, 28. Like I make it a point to do that. So a lot of people, they're like, I don't want a personal brand. You have one. And if people are behind closed doors being like, you suck balls, then maybe you need to make and do the actions that architect a different kind of conversation.
I need to get in on this meme. All of what you said was great, but the best part was about the meme.
This is a volatile group.
I mean, Aaron, most of the conversations with him are like a meme, so we get it right here.
Yeah, so like, for me, I'm very blessed to do what I do. I have extraordinary clients from all walks of life, from all networks into the billions, all the way down to startups and whatnot. You guys are one of only 2 clients that I allow into my personal WhatsApp. And I think I communicate to you mainly in GIFs and memes.
I would say that's yes, accurate, and yes, the best part.
I think it's very true. Which is another thing. Sorry, I don't want to hijack the conversation because I think there is a theme evolving around this conversation. One thing that I decided a few years ago was when I built my business, I only want to work with people I want to work with. That's it. That is a sword I'm willing to fall on and take the consequence of millions in revenue. By only serving people I wish to serve, I am so blessed to do what I do that my entire model has allowed me to connect with people I never knew, but I now want to serve. And so I think a lot of people we spoke about this in a session once. I won't talk about what we speak about too much, but it's more, we spoke about you can either build a business to become a Fiat or a Ferrari. You can either serve those exclusive people at a certain level that you want to serve and you want them to be seen in your vehicle, your product, your business, whatever it is. Or you can mass produce. A lot of people are going to buy it. Some will be assholes. Some will be amazing. They're going to get in accidents, but there's more of it, but it's less important what they think about you. For me, building this, I wanted the Ferrari model, which is I only want to work with people I want to work with. And the joy that's brought me, man, it's insane. Like all of my clients I communicate with in memes and jokes and laughing. And my litmus test is, could I meet this person in person and we go out for a meal and we're just laughing all night? If that's a yes, I'll work with them. And I remember going back to hell yeah or no, when I met you, Aaron, we were going back and forth a bit because we were introduced by a mutual friend. And I looked into your stuff and I saw what you were, and I was like, I can see your heart. I can see what you're building. And I had other people like, oh, we want to work with you. I was like, yeah, but there's something here. I didn't know you at the time, Marty. You were the instigator or integrator, either way. And both. And I think I just replied to an email to you, just one word. It's like, it's either hell yeah or no.
God, you don't remember that.
That was literally all I wrote. I was like, it gets to a point where I would love to serve you, but it's like, if you want to do that, great. And we're going to have a fucking blast. If not, we can just high five and go to the sunset. And I think you were just like, fuck me. I can see how this guy operates. And that changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. There's not been a freedom I have experienced more valuable to me than saying no to the wrong people, even if they are prepared to pay. I don't think in business, I don't think there's a freedom bigger than that. To have someone say, I will pay you X amount of money, a large number of dollars, and to say, you're not the kind of person I would enjoy working with, or you're not the kind of person I want to work with. To me, there's nothing better than that, man. Really.
I do this my entire life. That's my business. Like my team's motto. I've got we could edit stuff for people. And if the editor's like, this guy sucks balls, it might have been a blindside while I'm serving him, but I will take that into consideration because my team who I have around me are people that I love and they see for me as well. I am not all knowing and all commanding. I'm only as good as the people I'm surrounded by.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've said no. I've probably cost the agency, millions, definitely millions. And you couldn't pay me all that money to serve them.
Right.
And the other thing as well is it possible for you to build a business that never has to put out a fire? So like right now it's the 28th of December on a Saturday. There is nothing I do that is so important that if I don't answer the email now, it's over.
Yeah.
Like that means I'm really shit at what I do, which isn't the case. It's not ego. I'm good at what I do. Like Jordan knew he was fucking good at basketball. He tried baseball. It didn't work out. I know I'm good at what I do. I build my systems. We work extremely diligently with the people we work with. And I think nearly every single client of mine wish me Merry Christmas, which is, people were like, wait, the people you work with wish you Merry Christmas? I was talking to some friends. I'm like, yeah, I was sending them pictures of the baby and the deer in Scotland and stuff. And they're like, they're interesting relationships. I was like, because these are the people I wish to share it with. And it's like, you guys, we've been messaging all week. So, sorry to cut you off there. And yes, only serve the people you want to, and be okay that it's going to cost you pieces of paper with presidents on. But what it will give you is the space you've always wanted.
Yeah. The thing that I would bet pretty significantly that most people that own a business really want to be needed. And they like engineer sort of subconsciously these problems to like be significant or be in demand when they really don't.
Dude, people who want significant, they don't have a business where fires happen. They're the fucking arsonists who set fire to stuff. And then be like, everyone, look at me. I'm doing this. We had this big crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kicked someone down the stairs, and the crisis was I had to call the hospital. It's like, what the fuck?
If someone is listening and is like, all right, I'll take some advice from you guys going into the last couple of days of the year, how would you say they should spend some time to actually make 2025 better? Not the like I don't know, get in the cryo chamber, but what would you tell them to do that could actually help them make 2025 a solid, more successful year?
Fuck what anyone thinks of you. And that will be a battle, but the more that you overcome that, the freer you'll be.
Yeah.
Nice. Marty, what you got?
Well, I'll build on a point that Bo had spoken about really well. I think, can you go into 2025 with a sense of service? I mean, that's in my bones. And I think it does change. It takes a lot of pressure off when you're living from a place of service. And so I would say, in what way can you make your life about service going into 2025?
What about you, Aaron?
I'd say think about like, what do you want? Like, figure out what the fuck you want. And if it's, you want to work 20 hours a week, you want to do jujitsu, and you want to spend time reading, then that's how you build your business, and that's how you build your life. And don't let anybody's opinion stop you from that. But that, sitting down and thinking about that's probably the best thing you can do, in my opinion. Well, Bo, thanks for coming on here. Marty, thanks for joining us. I hope you have a really good kickoff to 2025. Bo, you doing anything fun?
No, I try and be in bed by 10.
Nice. Real adventurer.
What about you guys? What are you doing? You're in Arizona for New Year's?
Yeah, I'll be there for Arizona. I'll probably, I don't know, I might venture out, see what the night brings. Who knows?
Too old for that shit now.
I'll be his.
I know.
I'll be his designated driver.
Well, if you're in Arizona, anyone listening to this at the end of February, the greatest party Arizona's ever seen will be happening. We'll be there.
Bring it.
Find me the best Guinness in Arizona. That's what we're looking for. That's the whole thing. There we go.
Yeah. If anyone could do that, Aaron can do that.
I will take that task on wholeheartedly.
Guinness and steak, and we win. His life.
All right. Well, great to see you both. Happy New Year. If you tuned in, tell us what you loved about this episode. We'll see you on the next one in 2025. Remember to get out of your own way.